Surely you share my feeling that since January 6th, a shadow, an unwelcome sense of darkness and foreboding has been cast across our country and world. It's caused me to think about shadows. Back on August 21st, 2017, when a solar eclipse, a total solar eclipse, swept across the United States, Ellie and I drove to see that event in Paducah, Kentucky, one of the places between Oregon and the East Coast when that could be seen. And in the blistering heat of that day, in back of a hotel, on a field crowded with people and telescopes, the moon kept its appointment with the sun and slowly crawled in front of its face until suddenly at 1:20 p.m. the sun blinked out. What an experience. The temperatures suddenly dropped. You could suddenly hear crickets. And once our eyes adjusted to the darkness, the stars and two planets appeared. 2 minutes and 21 seconds later, it was over. And the blinding hot sun caused us all to put our special solar sunglasses back on. It's amazing what a shadow can illuminate. We drove for hours to see an eclipse, and we were treated with seeing stars and planets in midday. Yesterday was the day we remembered Martin Luther King Jr. Tomorrow, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris will be inaugurated. And we are now nestled in the week of prayer for Christian unity. But as we all know, there has been a shadow cast across these events. A shadow that slowly, but then with a vengeance, covered January 6th and blankets our world to this day. It's a powerful, scary, dark shadow, too, whose fingers of darkness seem to find their way like particles of sand that sift into every corner of our emotions, every corner of our society. But as I said, I've been thinking about shadows. What if the basic ritual of the certification of the millions of votes cast in the election had carried on as usual? A centuries-old tradition, invisible to most, probably barely mentioned in the news. What if the ecumenical tradition of a week of prayer for Christian unity, begun in 1908 and today noticed by few, had gone on, invisible to most, as usual? What if Martin Luther King Day was, again, for most, just another holiday when you knew that your mailbox would be empty? And what if the inauguration was only a fascinating event seen on the telly, watched by happy Democrats and disappointed Republicans, while most went to work or changed diapers or struggled with how to do a Zoom with grandma in a nursing home? You see, the shadow of January 6th, the trauma of a threat to our very democracy, changed all that. It illuminated the sacred nature of all these traditions, which will for decades never be taken for granted again. I remember well the day at Wesley Theological Seminary in Greek class when we tackled the first few verses of the Gospel of John. It begins with these words, translated typically something like this: "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. In him was life, and the life was the light of all humankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not put it out." Shadows, darkness, when light is cut off, when hope seems to be crushed, when all that we tend to depend on is threatened, when such shadows engulf us, they actually illuminate what is most precious. Has that ever happened to you in your life? Hasn't mine. Has the events of recent days caused that to happen to you? Has it illuminated some truths to our country, to our world? Perhaps we all can allow the shadow hanging over us to illuminate what is most precious in our lives. Perhaps it can cause our world to ponder what is most needed in life. James Jackson wrote once in the London Times, quote, "It's an old axiom that at a time of great uncertainty, people seek certainties." Perhaps for us all, the certainty of the ever-present stars of love we've seen in Jesus can assure us in the darkness that Jesus' kind of life-giving love still shines and is stronger than any darkness, any shadow. So, hope still reigns. Oh, and by the way, in 2024, on April 8th, beginning at 3:20, a total solar eclipse will sweep over Victor, New York for 3 minutes and 45 seconds. And that too is a certainty. Thanks be to God.